Hello and welcome to a lesson on expanding brackets. What do we mean by expanding brackets? Well, basically we mean multiplying by whatever's in front of the bracket to remove the brackets. So let's have a look and see how it works. I'm going to start by considering ordinary numbers. Let's consider 2 multiplied by the bracket with 3 plus 4 in it. Now brackets in maths mean do this first. Work out what's in the bracket first. So what this really means is 2 multiplied by what's 3 plus 4? It's 7. So I know that what's in that bracket is actually 7. So the answer, 2 times 7, must come to 14. But there's another way of looking at it. Let's suppose I consider this, let's put some dots, 2 rows of 7 dots. 7. If I want 2 times 7, I can consider it like that, 2 rows of 7. But what if I were to split it down there? What have I got on the left now? I've got 2 times 3. And what have I got on the right? 2 times 4. But these dots must add up to the original 14 that I had before. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, and sure enough, 6 plus 8 does give me 14. So what we're saying here is we can write 2 multiplied by the bracket with 3 plus 4 in it. We can write that as 2 times 3 plus 2 times 4. And that would give us 6 plus 8 is 14. So when we multiply a bracket by something at the front, everything in the bracket gets multiplied by whatever is at the front. In this case, 2. Now you might wonder why we would want to do that. In everyday numbers we wouldn't. We would just add the 3 and the 4 to get 7 and multiply that by 2. But it comes in particularly useful in algebra when we don't know what the letters stand for, what numbers they represent. So if I've got something like 2 multiplied by x plus y, I can't add x and y, I don't know what they are. But what I can say is 2 times x plus y is 2 times x, which we write as 2x, we miss out the time signs, plus 2 times y. And a second example, if I had 3 multiplied by x plus 4, that would give me 3 times x is 3x, 3 times plus 4 is plus 12. So again, I've been able to get rid of the brackets by multiplying out. Now let me show you a common error, or common errors, 2 of them. When I mark students' work, I see this time after time. If we've got something like 3 multiplied by x plus 4, then the 2 wrong answers that I see time after time are 3x plus 4. So students know they need to multiply the 3 by the x, but then they think they're finished and they just write the plus 4 as it is. Wrong. It should have been plus 12. The other wrong answer that I see quite often is 3x plus 7. Here students know they're multiplying the 3 by the x, but then their brain registers 3 add 4 must be 7. No, back up here again. 3 times x is 3x, 3 times plus 4 is plus 12. Right, we're going to go and look at 12 examples of expanding brackets, but before we do that, I need to run through with you and revise the rules for multiplying signed numbers. If we've got a positive number multiplied by a positive number, the answer is positive. If we've got 2 negatives multiplied together, the answer is also positive. But when we've got one of each, a plus times a minus or a minus times a plus, the answer is negative. We get a minus for the answer. But there's another way of thinking of this. Let's have a look at this sign here. If I look at that sign and I multiply it by a plus, What's happened to it? Nothing, it stays as a plus. So if I multiply that by a plus, it stays as a plus. What if I multiply this by a plus? Well, it stayed as a minus. So another way of thinking of this is if you multiply by a positive, it doesn't change any signs. It leaves pluses as pluses, it leaves minuses as minuses. But what if I multiply by a negative, there or there? If I start with a negative and I multiply by a negative, it causes it to change to a positive. And if I start with a positive and I multiply by a negative, it changes to a negative. So another way of thinking of this is that multiplying by positives doesn't change the signs. Multiplying by a negative changes all the signs. And we'll use that in the examples we're going to do now. Right, number 1. Expand 4 bracket y plus 2. Well, one at a time. 4 times y is 4y. And we multiply by a positive here, so the signs will just stay as they are. 4 times plus 2 is plus 8. Second one. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times plus 3 is plus 15. So notice how I'm multiplying everything in the bracket by the number at the front. 3 times x is 3x. Now what's 3 times minus 4? Well, I'm multiplying this minus 4 by a positive number, so it doesn't change. The sign stays exactly the same. 3 4s are 12, so that gives me 3x minus 12. Number 4. 2 times 3x, that's 2 lots of 3x, is 6x. The numbers get multiplied together and the x stays there. 2 times plus y is plus 2y. Again, the sign will stay exactly the same. 5 times 2p is 10p. 5 times minus 1, well, we multiply by a positive at the front here, so there's no sign changes in the brackets, they just stay the same. But 5 times 1 is 5, so the answer is 10p minus 5. Example 6. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times minus 3 is minus 18. Again, the multiplication takes place, but the sign doesn't change. Let's have a look at another 6 examples. 3 times 2p is 6p. 3 times minus q is minus 3q. Now we've got 3 terms in the bracket. Doesn't make any difference, we just multiply them all by 5. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times plus y is plus 5y. And 5 times plus 2 is plus 10. Now then, I've got a negative in the front of the bracket. So now I'm going to be multiplying things in here by a negative number. And what that does is it causes the signs to change. So minus 2 times x will be minus 2x. So instead of plus x, we don't write the plus, but it's there, it's changed to minus in the minus 2x. Minus 2 times plus 3 is minus 6. 2 3s is 6, but because we're multiplying a positive by a negative, it causes it to change. So if we multiply by a negative number at the front, all the signs in the bracket will change. Minus 4 times p is minus 4p. Minus 4 times minus q, well, it'll cause that one to change as well, so that'll change to a plus, and it'll be plus 4q. 4 times q is 4q. Minus 3 times 2m will be minus 6m. Minus 3 times minus n will be plus 3n. Notice how the signs are changing here. If I multiply by a negative at the front, that first term has become negative, and the second one has become positive. And the last example, minus 2 times x is minus 2x. Minus 2 times minus y becomes plus 2y. And minus 2 times plus 4 becomes minus 8. So the multiplying is going on, but you've also got to take account of the signs. Multiplying by a negative, change all the signs in the bracket. Now this is a good time for you to pause the video and do exercises A and B, which are based on these 12 examples we've done now. Once you've done that, we'll come back and take it a little further. Right, well hopefully you've had a chance to work through exercises A and B, and we're now going to take things a little bit further by looking at expanding brackets and simplifying. And this uses what we've just been doing together with collecting together like terms, which we did in a previous lesson. So, example 1. Expand the first bracket. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times plus 3 is plus 6. Now we expand the second bracket. Plus 3 times x is plus 3x. Plus 3 times plus 5 is plus 15. All multiplying there, 4 lots of multiplication taking place. Now we collect together like terms. We can collect the x's, we can collect the numbers. So I've got 2x plus 3x is equal to 5x. Plus 6 plus 15 is plus 21. So we've expanded the brackets and we've simplified the expression that we got. Example 2. 5 times p is 5p. 5 times plus 2q is plus 10q. Second bracket. Plus 2 times p is plus 2p. Plus 2 times plus q is plus 2q. Now we can collect together the p's and the q's. How many p's? 5p plus 2p is equal to 7p. Q's plus 10q plus another 2q is plus 12q. Moving on to example 3. 2 times y is 2y. 2 times minus 3 is minus 6. No sign changes because we've got a positive in front of the bracket. Plus 4 times y is plus 4y. Plus 4 times plus 2 is plus 8. Now we can collect the y's and collect the numbers. 2y plus 4y. Remember that minus sign belongs to the 6, not the y's. So it's not 2y take away some y's. You've got to look at the signs in front of the y's. 2y plus 4y is equal to 6y. Then we've got minus 6 plus 8. Pluses win by 2, plus 2. Minus 6 plus 8 is plus 2. Example 4. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times plus 5 is plus 15. Now then, here's our first negative in this exercise. Minus 2 times x is minus 2x. It's caused the sign in the bracket to change. It's a plus there, even though we don't write it. It's now become negative. Minus 2 times plus 1 changes the sign to a minus, but 2 ones are still 2. So it's minus 2x minus 2 on the end. Collect the x's, collect the numbers. 3x minus 2x is 1x, which I'll write as x, rather than stick a 1 in the front. Plus 15 minus 2. 15 take away 2 is plus 13. Example 5. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times plus y is plus 5y. Minus 2 times x is minus 2x. Minus 2 times minus y is plus 2y. Notice how the signs in this second bracket have changed because I'm multiplying by a negative. The positive x term is now negative, the negative y term is now positive. Collect the x's together. 10x minus 2x is equal to 8x. Plus 5y plus another 2y is plus 7y. And the last example, 3 times p is 3p. 3 times plus 2q is plus 6q. Now then, what about this last one? There's no number in front of the bracket. Well, we can think of that as minus 1 times the bracket. And so the minus sign causes the signs inside the bracket to change. Minus 1 times p would be minus p. And minus 1 times plus q would be minus q. So in effect, when you subtract a bracket, when you take the bracket off, it just causes all the signs inside the bracket to change. Instead of p plus q, we've got minus p minus q. Okay, collect the p's and q's to finish. 3p minus p is equal to 2p. Plus 6q minus q is plus 5q. And that completes our exercise on expanding brackets and simplifying. Now there's an exercise for you to do, exercise C, which has got 5 questions just like these.